Hey everybody, this is Scott Roth with the Bakersfield Jam. It is September 16th, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my experience over in the Dominican Republic. I coached the national team. I left on August 2nd and returned on September 3rd. I did this last year and coached the national team to a silver medal. We ended up losing against Puerto Rico in Central Basket, which is run by FIBA. And had a great time doing it. Spent about 3.5 weeks in the Dominican last year, and then headed to Puerto Rico for the qualifying tournament. Leading up to this year and this summer, the tournament got bigger, and now we were in another tournament to qualify for next year's pre-World Championships. And so once again, we headed down to Puerto Rico for the Dominican Republic for 3.5 weeks, and trained the team. And then the tournament was held in Cancun. The last week of that tournament was held in Cancun, and we ended up winning the bronze medal there and qualifying for the pre-World Championships next year in Argentina. The neat thing about this year was that we added 2 NBA players to that roster during the time I was down in Dominican, which was Al Horford from the Atlanta Hawks. Great kid, great professional, has a tremendous NBA career ahead of him. Really professional. It kind of reminds me of Shane Battier when I had him in Memphis. He's only 20 years old, but you'd think you're coaching a 30-year-old kid that is well experienced and just a tremendous kid to be around. And then also I had Francisco Garcia from the Sacramento Kings, who was a great asset and also played very well while we were down there. Great kid to be around. Both of those two guys loved their country, and this was one of their first times, I think, ever playing together. And it created a really, really big buzz around the Dominican Republic the 3 weeks that we were training there. Along with that, we had a few exhibition games there. We also got hit by 2 tropical storms while we were down there. And in the Dominican, everything's possible every day. You just don't know what you're going to run across, from 100 degrees to 100 degrees of humidity. Also, no air conditioning in the gyms, poor facilities, mosquitoes bigger than you are. And so every time you go down there is kind of a new adventure. And for those 2 players to come down and participate and did what they did was just a great tribute to them. Obviously, they left a lot of the luxuries of the NBA behind them and ended up being a great event for them. And I think they really enjoyed it. And next year, then, that hopes that those 2 will be back, along with maybe Charlie Villanueva from the Milwaukee Bucks, Sammy Mejia, who got drafted last year by the Detroit Pistons, and a few other players, Edgar Sosa, who plays at Louisville right now. So they have a potential to have a very good team next year. My last 2 years have been great with them. The experience has been tremendous on and off the court. It's given me a lot of confidence in coaching at the international style basketball, as well as the NBDL/NBA basketball. Even though the rules are different, the game is the same in a lot of aspects. Going down there, we ended up playing in Cancun in the bronze medal game and beat Cuba by, I believe, 30 points. Prior to that, though, we had some very exciting games. Al Horford won a game for us basically at the buzzer on a point differential score. We also played Puerto Rico in what was, I thought, actually the championship game, and ended up losing by 2 to them. The Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico have a great history of a rivalry together, and so every time those 2 teams get together, it's an all-out war, and this game was no exception. It went back and forth for most of the game, and Puerto Rico pulled it out in the end. They're very well coached and have very good players. Obviously, they're playing in the NBA also. So that was my month, roughly 4.5 weeks of August and part of September of going down there and coaching. It's great to be back in the States, and looking forward to getting Bakersfield up and running and get that thing going. So just want to give you a little update on where I've been. Also the summer leagues I also attended just before I left for the Dominican in Las Vegas and in Utah. Got to see a lot of players, got to scout a lot of different players, and that will lead us up into our draft in the beginning of November. So stay tuned as we go along. The podcast, like I said, will really officially start sometime in October as we go once a week, but these are just kind of introductory podcasts to get us up and running, and hope you enjoy the insight as we go along and get ready to go. My next podcast will probably be from New Orleans. I'll be heading down there for training camp with Byron Scott, and then from there heading over to the Orlando Magics with Stan Van Gundy and watching their training camp before heading back into Bakersfield before our open tryouts, October 11th and 12th. So look forward to talking to you again.